it's just been shocking how much trouble it seems like that they've immediately had um in Las Vegas. Scott, like what are the reasons what are the reasons that this has not happened? What is the reasons that they haven't been able to find people to help finance, it seems like, right?
I think the first signs of that were with the Raiders, because the Vegas Golden Knights, everybody looks at the Vegas Golden Knights as this huge success that other bigger teams, obviously more popular sports, can replicate. Well, it's just not. That's just not true. And when the Raiders came, it was actually there was a lot of excitement, but it was amazing to see how few of the players, and by players I mean the people, the movers and shakers, how few jumped on board supporting the Raiders. Like the official hotel of the Raiders is M Resort. Like that is not. Most people have never heard of that. It's not MGM. It's not Caesars. Like many very sports forward casinos wanted nothing to do with sponsorship, advertising, investment. It was a very strange phenomenon with the A's from day one. The most powerful people in Las Vegas in the casino industry were saying these are not serious people. That was literally the first thing they told me. These are not serious people. This is an imaginary ballpark. I'm not. This isn't even paraphrasing. And these are the people who are in the meetings, and the A's are showing their slides or whatever their deck, and they're leaving this meeting going, "I will never do business with this individual, with this team." And these are the people who you would think would rally around it, especially some who have rooms across the street on like three sides. Like, wouldn't you want to jump in that and make sure it happens? But that momentum is not there. So I think a lot of it goes back to casino executives, especially, have really sensitive bullshit detectors. Mm-hmm. So in those first meetings, it was just all bullshit, and it still is.
It sounds like the A's. Sounds like Dave Cavan.
Yeah, if you look at the renderings, and this is the last iteration of the renderings, many along the way, but this last batch, they're just insane.
Earlier renderings?
The earlier renderings were even worse.
You've seen them?
Yes, there were. They
published two. Yeah, they published two.
Right.
Yeah. I was wondering if there was. Yeah. I don't even consider those renderings. I consider those just like lies. Like AI.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't a real rendering.
But the last batch, according to our local media, these are the ones. This is the done deal. Let's talk about the Australian Opera House and the inspiration. I'm like, you're kidding. I literally spent 5 minutes in AI doing a better rendering than they did, because I don't know anything about baseball, but I know it must be harder to hit the little ball with the sun shining in your face. And every rendering they shared has the field facing where the sun sets. It's insanity. So they don't take anything they've talked about seriously. Bally's is the only one that's taken it seriously, but they are not serious people either, because they're building a casino in Chicago, and they have an $800 million shortfall. And they're now going to build a new resort for billions of dollars on the Tropicana site. It's insanity. It's whimsical stuff that the local media is just regurgitating. And a two-way person said they're demolishing the Tropicana to build a ballpark. It's utter nonsense. They were planning on demolishing the Tropicana for a decade before the A's ever got involved. And so anyone who makes that, who points at the Trop demolition as proof that the ballpark is going in, they're just wrong. They're misguided. And they're saying that because that's what they're being told. But it's not based on any kind of reality, to be honest.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Bally's? Like, we don't, I don't really know anything about the casino.
Yeah, aren't they selling their plot too, or like their $300 million worth of land too, or isn't that going up for sale?
It's a great question. Why would they sell why would there be discussions of the sale of the parking lot that Tropicana is going to become if they're building a new resort there? It's crazy. No, this company is kind of cobbled together. A lot of people confuse the fact that there was a Bally's hotel in Las Vegas, totally unrelated. They also think about Bally's, the slot machine manufacturer, unrelated. This Bally's Corp is this company that's kind of cobbled together. They have some casinos. One of the reasons they changed the name of Bally's to Horseshoe is because there was going to be some brand confusion if they built a resort on the site, because Bally's Corp wants to have a Bally's casino. So that's why Bally's Hotel changed to Horseshoe. But they do not have a huge record of success at Tropicana. It's a low end, very low. I think it's profitable, but just barely. So they just don't have the resources because it's marginally successful casino company. But if you can't even build this thing in Chicago. I think their casinos like in an old library or church or something. I don't know. It just sounds very kind of cobbled together.
The giant Shriners Temple.
Yes. Okay. Temple. I mistook it for the other kind of temple. But yeah, no, they don't have a ton of credibility here. And all my casino sources are like, they're not a player. They just don't have the revenue to support these plans. I think what's happening with the A's and Bally's is they believe their own hype that, well, it's a shitty, it's a shitty team and it's shitty ownership. But if you come to Vegas, something magical happens because there's tourists. And the fact that we got a dozen people at each game last season, we could get to 30,000 a game so easy. Well, if you ask them why, it's because, hello, Vegas. Like Vegas is some magical place. The Raiders have done well. So why couldn't we do that? Well, it's because the locals are fed up with their tax money going to public stadiums. You're jerking everyone's chain. You had a deal that was done for the old Wild Wild West site, right?
49 acres, right? 49 acres, right?
Yes. Oh, it was a lock with Station Casinos. The union made a call. Some other people made a call. Like that done deal wasn't done. So the A's, they're just not. You're not getting people rallying, and it's hard to root for a team that's not great. Vegas was very excited about professional hockey, but they also won. They won some kind of cup or something a couple times, whatever. I don't really know that much about it. But apparently that was a big deal. But it also happened at a time when people are they were wrecked by the October 1 shooting. So now you've got a sports team and it kind of pulled the community together. That was lightning in a bottle. There's never going to be a situation like that again until maybe the NBA.
Well, I was going to say WNBA, the Aces are doing pretty well right now. I mean, I don't know if you've been paying attention to that, right? I mean, but
is that a ladies'
yeah,
sports?
it's the women's.
They have those.
Yeah, the WNBA team. Yeah, they've been doing good. Yeah.
Well, we're going to get an NBA team.
Yeah.
It's going to go on this Oakview site, which is south of the Strip. Number of possible owners mentioned, some of them famous basketball players. So we're going to get that team. That might be a situation, especially if it's a good team. Then we can get excited about sports again. But nobody's excited about the A's, and I think the A's are starting to realize like we'd rather go somewhere where we're appreciated. And if you hear them talk in Sacramento, they seem genuinely excited to have the team there, because Sacramento aspires to be, if you listen to the what's the guy's name? I can never remember his name.
Vivek Ranadive, yeah.
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 Oh, it's Vivek.
Vivek.
Oh, Vivek. So yeah. Vivek, we'll go by first names. So he's all about. He's a booster of Sacramento, like our folks here about Vegas, about Steve Hill, the LVCVA, or someone like Derek Stevens, or these are all folks that are just like, let's make Vegas a world-class city. It's all about sports and entertainment, blah, blah, blah. So I think he seems like a really smart guy, smarter than anyone in the A's. So I think he is finessing this. He absolutely is following this narrative of, we'd love to have the A's here because it'll help us. When we start to talk about an expansion team, then we'll be next in line. I'm like, you're not going to need an expansion team. You're going to have the A's, and it sounds like you do things right. Like he built this other stadium, right, for the basketball team that was like state of the art and all this. So it sounds like he actually gets things done. And there's nobody here that's spearheading this project who's that level of success or competence or acumen. So it just sets the stage for them staying in Sacramento.